Hey guys, this is E with Scrapbooking with Me, and good morning and welcome to the Travel Journal Folio class. Now, I am not streaming live, as you know already if you're watching this video. I'm having internet problems, so I can't stream live like I wanted to, but I will be chatting with you over on the GroupMe, so don't worry about that. We will be chatting all day long. But we're going to do this little folio today. Now, these big flowers came from China. So we did not get these flowers and did not include these big ones in your kit. But we did include some very pretty flowers in your kit, so don't worry about that. You've got some swirl in your kit, but this is a little travel folio, and it has some pages in here in this one that you can write on or color on, journal on, whatever you want to. And then on this end, it has a little box that is hard so it doesn't collapse. You can put pens, brushes, whatever in that. So this is what we're going to make today. And it is not hard. It might look difficult, but it's not. And I'm going to show you a way that you will be able to add pages to that and take pages out if you want to. That way you can, color on those pages or draw on those pages, whatever you do. And then when that little book gets filled up, you can take it out, put it in your stash or put it away wherever you do. And then you can add more books to it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, I have got a sheet here that I included for you guys. It's very minimal information on here, but I will be typing all of this up and putting a PDF in the comments of the video so you can go to that PDF and see everything that all the score lines and all that kind of stuff. And if there's anything that I feel like I need to draw out for you, then I'll draw that out and include that over there. That way I'll give you as much information as I can, just like we were in a real live classroom, okay? All right, let's get started on making this. So pull out all of your class kit items. And if you have never covered chipboard before, and I feel a little bit antsy about it, don't worry, it's not hard. It is very, very simple. We're going to walk you through it step by step. You're going to have two pieces of cardstock that are, one is 12 by 7.5, and the other one is 7.5 by 8. Now these two pieces we need to glue together. So you're going to run a little bead of glue down through here or a little strip of score tape, and then you're just going to glue those together. Now just glue about 1/4 of an inch over. Don't glue too far, don't go like this. Just about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to grab my score tape. So I am going to grab my art glitter glue. Going to put just a little bead down through here. All you need is just enough to hold it. This is going to be glued down to the chipboard, so it's not like it has to be glued forever and forever and forever, because we're going to glue it again. Now when you're putting this down, what I like to do is put it up against my grid paper here on my table, my grid mat, and then I kind of line this one up, and then I pull this one and line it up too. That way I know I'm getting them straight. So just make sure that they both kind of line up with your grid. You can also do this over on your, where's my little towel? You can also do this over on your scoreboard if you want to do that. You can put it on your scoreboard and line it up that way. But I just use my grid line. And if I've got this one straight on that grid line, and if I put this one straight, then I know that my paper's going to run straight and it's not going to be crooked. Well, we hope it's not going to be anyway, don't we? All right. So we got that, and that's nice and glued down. Okay. So now you're going to grab your chipboard out. Now you've got quite a few pieces of chipboard, so just hang in there and I'm going to explain to you exactly which ones we're going to use. You're going to get the two that are 8 by 6.5. That should be your two large ones. And don't worry about the one side is white and one side's brown. We just used what chipboard we had. So some of it may be black, some of it may be white on one side, craft on the other. It doesn't matter. We're going to cover it all anyway. Then you've got a little piece that is 1.5 by 6.5. And we're going to put that down in the center like that. Now, what I do before I start gluing things down is I like to get me a straight line on the bottom and a little line on the side so that I'll know when I'm putting this chipboard down that I'm going straight. So it looks like we're going to have about 1/2 inch. Let's see what we're going to have. Looks like we're going to have about 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom to fold over. So what I'm going to do, and then let's see, we're probably going to have about 1 inch on each end, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my pen here because I have no clue where my pencil went to. And I'm just going to do a little light line down through there, like that. And then I'm going to come up 1/2 inch. Move those up out of my way. And I'm just using my Tim Holtz ruler because it's got the, you know, 1/2 inch lines, inch lines, all of that on it. So makes it easier for me. And then I'm just going to mark that all the way down. That way, when I put my chipboard down, if I put it right up on that line, then I know I'm putting it straight. So see, if I put this corner right in that where those lines meet, then I know I'm going straight with it. Now, here is where you can use your art glitter glue. You can use score tape. You could use Fabri-Tac. You could use PVA glue. Lots of different glues you can use on this. So just do whatever you have. Use what you have and what you like to use. I'm just using my art glitter glue because I know it sticks well and I don't have to worry about anything coming up. And it gives me just a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so I'm just lining that up with my little lines there. And there we go. So that one is down. Now, in order to put this one down, we want to leave just about, probably, let's see. I always just go by the width of my ruler, but if you don't have a Tim Holtz ruler, let me see. If you take this other piece of chipboard and just lay it in there, and then that's going to be about your width right there. So what is that? That is about 1/8 of an inch or a little bit more. Just leave a little bit more than 1/8 and you'll be good. It's better to leave a little bit too much is not enough, because if you don't put it wide enough when you start folding, then that's when you get your cracking in your paper. So I usually just kind of lay it down and then I look at it. And I've done so many of them, I can kind of do it just by looking, but if you want to put your chipboard in there, you can do that. Just kind of make sure that your space from the top to the bottom is the same, just like that. That'll give us plenty of fold room. And then when you start to put this piece down, that's what you're going to do as well. Leave that same amount of gap there. Okay, then let's see. Put that one down about like that. That should give you your gap right there. Now I'm just going to flip these over, and I'm going to take my bone folder and just run over that and make sure that glue is spread out nice and even and everything is adhered. Just like that. Now you're going to take your score tool, whatever score tool you have, and you're going to run it right down the edge of that chipboard. That's going to make this where it folds nice and easy, and you don't have to force it to fold. It breaks down those fibers just a little bit so that you have a nice crisp fold. So I just go all the way around with it. And this paper is pretty hardy, so you can put a little bit of pressure on it. Shouldn't have any problem with it. I've used this cardstock for years. Okay, and then I also go right down this fold, and I go on both sides right up close to that chipboard. That just helps my paper from cracking. Okay, so we've got that right there. Now we can go ahead, and I just take my paper and I hold it like this, and I rock this up. So if you just rock it, then I turn it to the end and I rock it. Turn it to this side, do a little rocking motion, and then on this end. That helps fold that up. And then again, I take my little bone folder and I run it down through there just to help encourage it to fold over so that I don't have any resistance from it. Now, in an ideal world where paper was abundant and we could get any amount of paper we wanted, which was not the case this time, I would leave about an inch on the top and the bottom as well, like I did here. But we had to scrimp on paper because we couldn't get the paper in, all that kind of stuff, so it was a little bit of a nightmare. So that's why your paper is cut the size that it is. We just had to try to make sure that we stretched it as far as it would go because we just couldn't get any more. I tell you, it's a mess. It's a madhouse. But, you know, manufacturers are either closed or not running full capacity, so they're not making things, so it's hard for us to get things in. But anyway, you have enough to fold around. That's all you need. Now, on your corners, from the edge of your corner out, you need to leave 1/8 of an inch or a little bit more. I always leave more rather than less because if you cut it too short, you can't cover that up. If you cut it too far out, you can always go back and trim a little bit more off. So it's better to leave more than less. Now, what you can do, this is just a little tip that I saw on somebody's video a long time ago. You can take this little corner that you cut off and glue it right here on that, and that will help. Even if you cut it a little short, that will help cover that chipboard up. So that's what we're going to do on this one, and then that ensures that your chipboard doesn't show. Just glue it right up at the edge, just like that. So you're going to do all 4 corners the same way. Okay, we have those cut and then those little pieces glued on the corners. And now we're ready to start adhering this up. Now I'm going to use my art glitter glue again. I will have to, you know, rub on it just a little bit and hold it in place for a second or two, but that's okay with me. I know it's going to hold. So just run a good bit of glue down through there, or if you're using score tape, just put a line of score tape down. And I start on the sides. You can start at the end if you want to. This is just what I've always done, and I just like to do that. I also put a little bit of glue down in there, like in where that crease is. That also helps keep your paper from cracking. And then you're just going to fold it up. And you may have to, if you're using art glitter glue like I am, you may have to press on it just for a little while, but it catches pretty quick. It catches pretty quick, so you don't have to fool with it too much. See, it's already glued. And then I just run my bone folder down there a few times to keep it from coming up, just to make sure that it's kind of dried a little bit. And there's that side glued down. And then I come over to the other side and I do the same. Okay, then fold that side up. And now you can go to the ends and do the same thing. Now when you start to fold the end up, if you see that your paper right there on the corner has a little bit too much of a point, just take your bone folder or your scoring tool or something and just kind of fold that inward. So I just take it and roll it in, and that should give you a nice corner. And yes, I use the towel a lot because I don't like that glue seepage everywhere, so I use the towel to go over it, and it just picks up all that excess glue. Because I like to glue extra. I'm a heavy gluer, and therefore I hope everything's going to stick well. So far it has. And then I just wipe up any excess that squirts out. I always rather have too much is not enough. Okay, and then I'm just going to look at these. This one looks like it's a little much, so I'm just going to fold that in. I'm just rolling it in. This one looks like it may be okay. So we're just going to pull that over and press it down like that. Okay. And then again, I run my bone folder over it just to make sure that it is stuck down well. So we've got our chipboard covered, just like that. Now, in order to get kind of a flat surface here on the ends, I just take my bone folder and run back and forth down through there. And that just makes that nice and flat like a real book. You don't have kind of a bumpy edge. So just run that all the way around, like that. So there is our book. Now I'm going to put this part that has where we put it together on the back. So this will be the front. And see, it folds up nice. Okay, now you're ready to put your paper on the inside. Now you have a couple of choices when it comes to putting your paper down for the inside. This is going to be, you have two black pieces here, and I didn't even write the measurements on these, but let me measure them right quick. These are 4.5 by 6. So these are going to be your spine covers. Now, they're going to go down right here, like that. So the reason I said you have two choices on your paper, you can use one of your 6 by 6 pieces, or two of your 6 by 6 pieces, to put down like this, to glue down like that, or you've got two long sheets like this that are 6 by 12, and you could cut that in half and put one here and one here. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. I want this to be my inside mat, so I'm going to save these for the outside, which you have more outsides, but I'm just going to save that one. And I'll show you there's some more things that we need to cover in a little bit anyway, so I'm just going to save that. Save those. All right. I'm not dragging out my, well, I said I wasn't. I guess I am. I'm going to drag out my trimmer so that I can cut this straight, because if I cut it with scissors, I'll probably cut it crooked this morning. Okay. Now, let's see. I've got a little tiny bit of white right there showing on mine. I think it'll be all right. Now, this is just going to fit. And the reason I say that is, like I said a while ago, in an ideal world, we would have sent you 12 by 12 papers and a lot of extras and all that kind of stuff. But we got in 6 by 6s. We couldn't get in 12 by 12s in this paper collection. So we had to use what we had to use. We ordered the 12 by 12. We got like 3 in, and that was it. So that wasn't enough for everybody. So we had to back up and punt and put in 6 by 6. We could get plenty of those. But if you put this down correctly, and if you did your outside correct, it's going to fit perfectly. I did one just to make sure that it would fit. I lay mine out first, like this. Lay it out, and then once I get it laid out and I look at it and I've got all my parts covered, then I glue that down. If you just start gluing, you're going to end up with a gap. So I like to lay it out first just to make sure that I'm going to have everything covered. Alrighty, so I'm going to start gluing this down. Now I'm going to put this just as far in as I can without any of my chipboard showing. That way I'll have plenty of room for everything to be covered. So see, that's a 6 by 6 piece, and I've got all of that covered. So it's important on this that you put your cover down correct, that you measure it out like I did, and then put these down correctly. Because the world right now is not ideal, and we just had to do what we had to do to get kits put together. But it works, and as long as it works, that's what matters. Okay, then you're going to take this one, you're going to butt it right up against that one. Now, that little white is not my chipboard showing. That is that little white on that paper that I didn't trim off, and I'm not concerned about that. Most all of that's going to be not going to be seen. That's on the inside, and I'm going to put a little book in here, so it's not a biggie to me. But if it is to you, then go ahead and trim it off. If you have that on yours, you may not have it. I cut mine out of some scrap, so that's why I have mine, I'm sure. Okay. And then I'm going to butt this one right up against that one, just like that. Let me try that again. I want to put it straight if I can. There we go. Okay. So there you have the inside covered. And you had the right amount of paper. Alright, so you have that. Now, I let this dry a little bit before I try to fold. That way all of this is glued down well and I don't get those you know, little bubbles in my fold. But I do take my bone folder and I just kind of go over those creases, just where my fold is going to be. Now when you're pressing on these, don't press too hard because this paper has just now been glued, so you don't want to crack anything. Just kind of run over it a few times. And then I just kind of lay this aside and let it dry a little bit. Okay. Alright, we can flip this over. And since I don't have a direction on the inside, mine could go either way. I am going to make sure that I put this little seam on the back. So this is going to be the front right here. And then you just decide what paper you want on the front. What paper do I want on the front? So you have 4 pieces, I think, or 5. 4 or 5. Looks like you have 1, 2, 3. You have 5 pieces of the 6 by 6. Oops, I just dropped a paper clip. Alright, let's see. I want to lay that one aside. I'm going to keep that one for later. But I think I want that one on the front. Like that. And I need to trim that one down. That's just where I tore it out of the paper pad. So I want that one on the front. Maybe. Ooh, I like that one too. Which one do I want on the front? I like that. Okay, maybe I'll put that on the front. Let's see. Decisions, huh? Alright, I think I'll put this one on the back. Like that. Yeah, I think I'll do mine like that. Now you have another spine piece that's the same size that that one was on the inside. So you can put them together just like that. This is going to be my front piece. So this is the front of my album. There's the spine piece and there's the back. Now you have just a little bit of room to play with this one to move it in or out, because you do have a piece that we punched for you that's going to go in right here. So, you know, you can move it in or out just a little bit and that piece is going to cover up. So I love that gold in that, in this gold. I like that part. And then the black ties in with this. And then we've got a little piece, a little bead piece that goes right down through here. So I'm going to kind of move mine out like that. That gives me just a little bit of room on either end. Probably about, let's see, 3/8 of an inch on each end. And then I'm going to glue mine down like that. That's going to give me my spine, that part right there, and that. Now when you are putting this black piece down, you need to make sure that it laps over this back piece just a little bit, just a tiny bit. You could even go ahead and glue them together if you want to, if you feel more comfortable doing that way. I'm just going to glue mine down and go with it like that, but if you want to, you can glue this piece and this piece together and put them down like that. The reason I say make sure it laps over just a little is because this piece is going to bend, and when it bends, it's going to pull. So if it laps over just a little bit, you're not going to pull a gap open in it. So make sure that it laps over just a tiny bit. Overlaps, laps over. I don't know what the correct, we say laps over. I know it's probably supposed to be overlaps. We're Southern, so we just say laps over. Alright, this is going to be the top of my album, so I'm going to put mine running this way. And I'm just going to try to center it from top to bottom. It's really muggy here today, so my glue is trying to dry even before I put it down. So that is the back one right there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put my spine piece down and just kind of work my way to the other end. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting them straight down through there. Here again, you could take a little pencil and draw a little line down through there if you wanted to, so you can make sure that you got them lined up even. That's not that important to me. I'm not that perfect. I'm not that precise. Alright, now right here we need to put a magnet before we go any further. So let's see if I've got a magnet over here. I should have, but who knows. Okay, I've got a small magnet. I think you have a large magnet. I'm not sure. Somebody might have a small, somebody might have a large. Either one will work. These magnets are pretty strong, so I think either one is going to work. Now, I'm just going to check my center on this because I do want to put this pretty close to right. There again, to make sure when that folds that I don't have that pulling apart. So I'm just going to kind of lay it up here, and then I'll know where to glue this one in at. Okay, I think I'm going to glue that one right there. And I'm just going to hold it there. I'm going to pick this edge up, put my glue down, just to kind of get it started, and then I can always come back and put more glue if I need it. Like that. Because if I pick it up and move it, chances are I'm not going to get it back in the right place. Okay, I'm going to press that down. Oops, I'm squirting out glue. And need just a little bit more right there, so we'll use that. That's right on the tip. Okay, then I'm going to put this piece down. And I don't glue these little ones. Well, we'll glue them. We'll put just a little touch, just a little bead down through there on those. I started to say I don't glue them, and most of the time I don't, but we'll do it just to make sure that they stick down. Just like that. Cute. I like that so far. Now, let's see. You should have a little string of beads. Do I have any? Let's see if I have mine. Should be in here, in your little bag. Go ahead and pour it out. See what I've got in here. Okay. There was my big magnet right there. Alright, here's our little string of beads. Now I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac to put these beads down. I think the art glitter glue would hold it fine, but the Fabri-Tac I know will catch it real quick, and I don't have to sit here and press on them a bunch. So you're going to put your little beads right down at the end of this little piece. So just run a little bit of glue down through there. Just like that. And then just lay your little beads up on there. My fingers are sticky, and so it's trying to stick to me. I'm gonna look in the camera and see if that looks pretty straight. Let me hold it up. Yeah, it's straight enough. Didn't have to be perfect. I got this little tool many years ago from, what company made these? I'm not sure what company made them. But it's a hot glue helper. But now, right now I think they're pretty expensive. But I have been told that you can go to Dollar Tree and you can get something that looks similar to this. It's over in the aisle where makeup is. And it works the same way. This is just a silicone piece and glue doesn't stick to it. So it's good to use not only on hot glue, but also on pressing down for glue like that. So you might want to check your Dollar Tree. I haven't checked mine yet, but I love this thing. Alright, now I think we can do a little bit of folding. So when you start folding your album, fold it easily. Don't just try to push it all up there at once. Just give it some slow motion. Slow and easy. Because you know you've just put all this glue down and you don't want to crack anything. So just fold it easily. Just like that. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love that. I love that paper with all of that. Pretty, pretty. Okay, then I just kind of work mine back a little bit and forward a little bit, back a little bit and forward a little bit. And see, you don't have any bubbling on the inside or anything like that. So there is our cover right there. Isn't that cute? Okay, before we start embellishing on the cover, we want to go ahead and look at what else we have here. Now this is going to be your little piece that closes it up. It's going to go around like this. See, it's going to match here. If we put our kits together right, you've got a matching piece, and I think we did. I had a girl that did that for me, so I'm pretty sure she did a great job on that. Alright, let's see what else we have over here that we can... Okay, we'll go ahead, while that is drying a little bit more, we'll go ahead and put our little folio together. So you have another piece of paper that is 6 by 12, and then you have some drawing sheets, and this is some drawing paper that is 6 by 12. I believe it's the same. Well, yeah. Well, I think your drawing paper is actually 6 by 11 and a quarter because we wanted, when you folded it, we didn't want it to stick out the end. So your drawing paper is 6 by 11 and a quarter, I do believe. So that's going to go on the inside just like that. Now, here's where you can make some different decisions. If you want to put this in your little journal permanently, in other words, if you want to sew your signature, this is a signature. If you want to sew it into here, and excuse my voice, my allergies are killing me this morning. So if you want to sew your signature in here where it's permanent, then you can do that. If you want to put some elastic on it where you'll be able to take it in and out, we give you the supplies to do that too. You can do it either way. You've got a piece of elastic, and then you've got some thread and a needle. We gave you a big-eyed needle. So you can decide which one you want to do. I think, let me see, what do I want to do on this one? I think for mine, for this one, I'm going to sew mine directly in. But now, if you don't want to do that, then what you can do is go ahead and sew your signature together. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to sew your signature together and then put your elastic on there so that you can have a removable little album. And then you can make more of these and take it in and out. So I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, the first thing you need to do is take all of your drawing papers and fold them in half. So fold all of those sheets in half. These are like a watercolor paper or a multi-medium paper. You can do, your coloring, watercolor, whatever you want to on these, and they should hold up pretty good. So then we're going to take this one and fold it in half, and I just used a scrap on mine. All right, and then we're going to insert that right in there. Now, if you have some other papers laying around in your stash that you want to add to this, you're welcome to do that. You can add a few more papers in the signature and make it a little bit larger if you want to. This is going to give me plenty on this one, but that's up to you again. So if you have a few more and you want to add it to your signature, then you go ahead. All right, I'm going to get a couple of clips. And what I like to do is I make sure that my spine where I folded it, that those folds are even, and then I just clip that together just like that. Then I take, where is my little, okay, I take just a piece of foam. You could do this on your mat if you've got one of these mats, but I take just a piece of foam that I have, and you don't have to be precise on this, but about probably a 1/2 inch from the top, I poke a hole right down through that spine piece right there, and then I go down to the bottom about a 1/2 inch up, make sure that I got that even still, and I poke another hole, and I just kind of fold mine over because it makes the hole come out more in the center than if you lay it down flat. So I'll poke another hole, and then I go to the center point, somewhere close to the center point, and I poke another hole right down through there. Okay, so then we have 3 holes in this. There we go. Now this is quite a big needle right here, but it will go through if you poke your holes with a big pokey tool like I did. Then you just take your needle and you're going to thread it. Okay, you're going to start in the center and you're just going to push that down through the center, all of the holes there. pull that through and leave a little tail here. Just leave you a little tail. Not much, just a little. Then you're going to come back up through the top. And then you're going to go all the way down to the bottom and go back down through like that. See what we did? This thread, you're just going to make sure that it's over on one side of that. So then you're going to come back up through that center. And when you come back up through the center, just make sure that your thread is on the opposite side, or your needle is on the opposite side of this thread. So see, there's that little line that we've got through there. This thread is over here and my needle is on that side. See? The reason we're doing that is because we're going to tie a knot in that, and we want to enclose that thread that runs down through there in that knot. Now I flip it over and I just look and make sure I've got these pretty straight and there's no knots in them. And I do. Then I just cut my thread. Save that needle. That can be added to your stash. That's a good needle right there to do all kinds of bookbinding. Then I just pull that back and forth one way and then the other to just kind of tighten it up a little bit. And then what you're going to do is just I tie a double knot. And then you could also tie a little bow in this if you want to. I think I left enough thread that I can. Let's see if I can. You could leave all of that thread if you wanted to. I cut mine. I'm just used to cutting it because usually I don't take it off the roll when I'm doing my bookbinding. That way I don't waste anything. There we go. A little bow in there, and we can take our clips off now. And then we have our little book. Just like that. Isn't that cute? I love that. Okay. And see how cool it matches that? That's sweet. Now, in order to put our little book in here, we're going to use our elastic piece. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mark my center with just a little. I would mark it with a pencil, but since I can't find my pencil, we're going to mark it with this. And if you have a Tim Holtz ruler, it's ideal for this. Let's see. And I may get my head in the shot. Sorry if I do. Alright, right there. It's going to be my center point. Now you want to put this hole about, let's see what that is. That is about 3/8 of an inch from the top. Don't put it too far down. If you do, you're gonna have problems putting your booklet in and out. So put it pretty close to the top. You could put it 1/4 of an inch even if you wanted to. I think 3/8 is gonna work fine. Let's see. Let's do this again. Right there. So right at the end of that, where you put your mat down, will probably be the best spot. Okay, got my 2 little holes marked there and there. Now I'm going to use my hole punch, but you could also just poke it with a pokey tool if you don't have a hole punch. It doesn't matter which one you use. I'm just going to use this because it's a little bit easier on my hand. Let's see. I can't really squeeze this with my right hand right now because I'm having some arthritis problems. So I'm going to try my best to do it this way. There we go. Okay, got that one in there. And then we're going to do the same thing on this end. Now I'm just kind of using the table as a little bit of leverage for me. All right. So we've got our hole here and here. Now, the good part about this thick spine, or this wide spine, if you want to go add more signatures to this, you can. All you need to do is come over here to this side, put another hole, this side and put another hole, and you can add 3 signatures into this. There's room if you want to do that. They would need to be about the size of the one we just made, not too much bigger. But you could add more if you wanted to. You can also put an eyelet in here if you want to. I don't usually put an eyelet in mine, but that's up to you. If you have an eyelet that you want to put in there, then you can set an eyelet in here. So now what you're going to do is you're going to run your elastic. And I'm going to use my little score tool here. I'm going to pull it in through there. And then we're just going to bring it back up this end. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to pull that elastic tight. Now, this is white elastic and you have a black spine. With all the mask and everything, I know you're tired of hearing this probably by this time, but with everybody making masks and all that like they were, we couldn't get anything but white elastic. We couldn't get black. I tried ordering it from everywhere and it was back ordered to like September or something. So we had to use white. All you have to do, you can take a marker and cover this. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute, and make sure that that blends in. We'll just take a marker and go over that. So, all right, we're going to tie this. Now you're going to tie it pretty tight. You don't want to leave it too loose, but you don't want to get it too tight. So just pull it and tie it pretty tight, like that. So see, mine's about that tight. Now, once you tie it, I tie it in like a square knot, but once you tie it, you can go ahead and add just a little drop of glue to that little knot, and it'll be there. And then you can trim these pieces off. Okay, so then you have that piece in there. All right, let's get a marker, and we'll just go ahead and cover this while we're working on it. I'm just going to use a Copic marker. You could use if you have a Sharpie or something like that, you can use that. I have had to do this quite a bit since all of this COVID mess has started. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little piece of scrap paper. I'm going to run it up under here. That way I don't accidentally get that marker all over everything. But yeah, I've had to color and do a lot of different things since COVID started up, because supplies are just so limited everywhere. Did you ever think in this world that we live that we would be in this kind of situation? I never once would have dreamed it. But we are, and so we just have to live with it. It's one of those things that life throws at us. Now, if you want to go ahead and cover the bottom part, you can do that too. You can cover your elastic before you put it in here, and then just let it dry. That's, there again, all of that's up to you. You can leave it just as is if you want to. I'm just showing you some different options. My marker seems like it's a little bit dry. I need to refill it, I guess. Now, a Sharpie would work great on this, and it would smell so good. All right, who else out there likes to smell Sharpies? I know I'm not the only one. I like to smell them. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but I like the smell of them. Or raise your hand. I know you do. I know somebody does other than me. All right, now look at there. Can't see that elastic anymore, can you? We've covered it. It's black now. And now for the inside, you could do the same thing, but I'm not going to worry about the inside because my book is going to be in here. So all you're going to do now is you're going to pick that elastic up. You're going to slide your book in there and put it down just like that. And see why it was so important to put these holes at the edges? It's because if you put them too far down, your elastic is not, your book is going to crumple up. This way, it's just the right width. So make sure you put them pretty close to the edge, okay? So that your book will lay in there just like that. Isn't that sweet? I love that. All right, we are ready to go on. This little project is coming together. Now you're going to take, we're going to lay that little piece aside for a minute. You're going to take this piece right here that is 9 by 5.5. We're going to do some scoring on this one. This is the only one we've had to do scoring on, isn't it? So let me grab my paper back over here, and I will make sure that these are, all this information is in a PDF so that you'll know how to score everything. And I'll get Shannon to insert it along with the video. I was just looking at my measurement, sorry. Okay, this piece is, what did I say, 9? No. This piece all right, this piece is 5.5 by 9. And on the 9-inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, at 1.5 inches, at 7.5, and at 8.5. Okay, then you're going to turn it and you're going to score at 1/2, at 2, at 3, and at 4.5. Okay, we'll go over them one more time. On the 9-inch side, you're going to score at 1/2, at 1.5, 7.5, and 8.5. Then you're going to turn it and you're going to score at 1/2, at 2, at 3, and 4.5. Okay, that's all your scoring. Now go ahead and fold and burnish. Okay, now on this piece, I have marked some places that we're going to cut. When you put this piece up to you, you need to make sure that this 1/2 inch is facing you. So see, we've got an inch here, we have a 1/2 inch here. Make sure that 1/2 inch is facing you. That's how we're going to start cutting. Now you're going to cut, there's 2 boxes right here, 2 here and 2 here. We're going to cut all 4 of those away. You don't need those, so just cut those out. And I will put a cut diagram on the PDF that I send to Shannon. Alright, then you're going to cut these 2 away on this end. Just like that. Now you're going to cut this little piece. There's 2 boxes here. You're going to cut this little piece away. And you're going to cut this one down here away. So you've got one right there and one right here. Leave that one and cut this one away. Like that. Then you're going to do the same thing over here on this side. You're going to cut that one away. I'm going to cut that a little bit better. Cut your score line out. And then you're going to cut this one down here away. So that's what your cuts should look like. right there when you get through trimming off. Then we're going to cut in on this score line and wedge both sides. You're going to wedge it, and then you're going to cut in on this score line and wedge both sides. Alright, and then you're going to angle this little piece right here, and I'm going to cut that score line out a little bit better. So you're angling that. You're going to angle this. This is going to be your little flap for your lid. You're going to angle that side, and then you're going to cut in on this one, angle it, angle, and then angle that, cut in there, angle that one, angle that one. Okay, so that's what it should look like now, right there. And like I said, I will do a screenshot and send this to you so that you can see exactly how it's cut and all of that. I'll send you a little diagram. Alright, now we're going to glue this little box together. That was our box made right there. All we have to do now is glue it together. Now these tabs, both of these tabs go up to the end, just like this. See, just like that. They glue together just like that. So I'm going to put glue on all 4 of these. I think I'll put glue on 2 at a time. That way, maybe I won't get glue all over me. So put that up there. Just make sure that you get your corners nice and even, just like we do all of the boxes that we make. That one up here. Nice and even corners. I always run my finger down through there, and if I can feel this piece sticking over, then I know I've got it a little bit too far up. And I'm going to press that down with a bone folder to make sure that it's adhered well. And then we're going to put glue on this end, just like we did the other, and glue it together. Okay. Bring those little tabs up there and just glue them together like that. Okay, go ahead and take your bone folder, run over that, and there is our little box right there. Now I punch a little pull right there just so that they can tell that this is a little box and this is how it opens. You don't have to do this. I'm sure they can tell it's a box, but right there. Okay. Now, before we do anything else, we need to put some chipboard in here. The reason we do is because we want to reinforce this little box so that it doesn't collapse when we start putting everything together. We don't want our little box to collapse in on us. So you have some extra pieces of chipboard, or some more chipboard I should say. You have some that is 1 3/8 by 5 7/8, and that is going to go right in the bottom and on the lid part right here. So let's go ahead, choose one of your papers that you want to use to cover your chipboard. Now, if you don't want to cover your chipboard, that's strictly up to you. Save your paper. If you don't mind your chipboard showing on the inside, then just save your paper. I wouldn't mind mine showing since it's white on one side, but I can't guarantee that everybody's is white on one side. So I think I'm just going to use this one. I like that side too. I think I'm going to cover it like this. So all you're going to do is put glue on your chipboard. whatever side you want to use, doesn't matter. And then you're going to put it down on your paper. And I always just put it right up to the edge, and that way I have less to trim off. I'm going to go ahead and do this piece like that. And then while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and cover these pieces as well. This is a piece of chipboard that is 7/8 by 5 7/8. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover these. This one just happens to be black on mine. I don't know if yours is black or not, but it's chipboard. And if you put them pretty close together, just so that you can get your scissors in between there to trim, then you should have enough paper on this one sheet to cover all of these. I'll get that out in a minute. Blah, blah, blah. This is 7/8 by 1 1/4. These two little pieces. You ever get started crafting and then you try to talk and you can't? Well, that's about where I am. Sometimes my mind just goes faster than my mouth, if that could be possible. Then I can't get my words formed. Okay. So there is all of our chipboard, and it's covered. Now all we need to do is just trim it. I'm going to wait just a second for this to dry, just a little bit, and then I'll trim them out. Alright, what you need to do is just, you can do an X-Acto knife if you want to, if that seems to be easier. I just use my long scissors and trim right down the edge of that. So there's that piece covered. Trim down the edge again. And down the edge of this. I'm just going to go ahead and go through these. That one I got a little close, so I'm going to pull it apart. Okay. And then you can just trim off any excess after you get them apart. So there's that one. And you can reinforce any of your boxes this way. Any box that you have that you want to reinforce, just use your chipboard, cover one side of it and put it in there. You don't have to cover both sides. You're going to glue one side down. Okay. We're about there. Alright, now we are ready to glue these pieces in here. So I'm just going to glue my bottom piece down in. If I don't throw it around first. Glue the bottom piece in. Just like that. And then I'm going to glue this piece up here at the top. They should fit perfectly in between your score lines. If they're a little bit off, then just trim them down. We tried to cut them exact, but you know how that goes. So if it's a little bit off, just trim it down. I always dry fit, and then if I see that I need to trim, I can go ahead and trim before I put my glue on. So just dry fit them. Okay. Now for your side pieces, I definitely dry fit those and make sure that they're not too tall here. You don't want them sticking up above your paper. I don't mind that right there. I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to try to cut out a little notch there. That's fine with me. Now on this front piece, what you need to glue is just put glue right down at the bottom, and I'll show you why in a minute. So just from about halfway, maybe about halfway to the bottom. Don't put glue right up at the top. And I'll show you exactly why in a second. Alright, then you just want to press that down in there as far as it'll go and glue it in. Okay, just like that. Alright, then we'll put our back piece in. Again, I dry fit just to make sure that it's not going to come up too high, that my box lid's not going to close. And see, when I try to close my box lid over, it gives me resistance. So what I'm going to do is take this piece and trim it off a little bit. I'm just going to shave just about a 1/16 off of it with my scissors. You can use an X-Acto knife if you don't have any of these shears that would cut it. Just trim a little bit off down through there. You don't want the resistance on your lid. Now, let's try that again. I'm going to put it back in, and then I'm going to try folding my lid over, and it folds perfect. So that's what we need to do. We couldn't cut yours exact because we don't know exactly how everybody's going to put their box together. So that's why we cut them the size that we did, and then we leave it up to you to dry fit it and then put it in like you want it and like it fits. So push that all the way down to the bottom and then glue it down like that, and then our lid still closes over. We don't have any resistance. Now these two little end pieces, make sure that you dry fit them. If you don't dry fit the end pieces, then you may be in trouble. I always dry fit them just to make sure that, you know, this little piece is going to lay over there. This is what keeps your lid from falling in. And you dry fit them just to make sure that they're not cut too wide. Mine seems to be cut good, but make sure that you dry fit them. Okay. Put that down in there. Press it all the way down. And then you have no resistance. That's good. Going to put this one on this side. Again, press it all the way down. And no resistance. And that's good. Now I'll show you why we only glued the bottom part on this one. You fold those little tabs in. This folds over this little flap. You're going to put it right between that chipboard and the outside paper. Now the first time you do this, it'll give you a little bit of trouble, but after you put it together a couple of times, it will be fine. Mine did the same thing the first time I tried to put it down in there, but don't worry about it. It will work. It will work, I promise. All right, there's our little box put together. Now, you could go ahead and put a ribbon around this if you want to, or something like that if you don't, if your lid's not closing nice and flush. Mine seems to be fine, but, you know, that's up to you if you want to do that. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to cover this with some paper. So you have some other paper that you can do some mats with. I think, I think I might just use this little part right. I don't know, I might use that. No, I think I'm going to use the little truck. Okay, now these you're going to have to trim because we didn't trim this piece for you because we didn't want to decide for you which one you was going to use. So we just left the 6x6 intact. Alright, so these pieces are going to need to be trimmed. You're going to need two that are 5 3/4 by 3/4. So, let's see. 5 3/4 needs to run this way. 5 3/4. 5 3/4 by 3/4. Alright, so I'm just going to trim my whole sheet at 5 3/4 this way, because I know that long way is the way it's going to have to be to go on here to make my little truck upright. Then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut some 3/4 inch pieces. Two 3/4. So that's going to go on the front and the back. And then we need two, no, we need one that's 1 1/4. That's going to be your top piece. And then two that is 3/4 by 1 3/4. So on this one, we need to cut it at 1 3/4 in the length, 1 3/4, and then cut them at 3/4, 3/4, and 3/4. Okay. So there are our two side pieces. Okay. Then we have a little bit of paper left. Alright, let's glue these down. I'm going to glue my front piece down first. Right there. Then our top piece. Okay, then we'll go ahead and glue our end pieces. And then we'll put our back piece on. Now, I think some of you got a little pen with your kit. I don't have one. But you got a pen with your kit, so you can insert that in your box. Now, we are going to take our box and we're going to glue this Did you see what I did? I put this upside down. So let's turn that over. Good thing I didn't stitch it in, huh? There we go. This is my front. So, okay. Now we're going to take this box and we're going to glue it right here at the end. So this should still fold out there, see? So glue this, not exactly at the end, about maybe, let's see, maybe 3/8 of an inch in. And I glue the flap facing this way. You can glue it the other way if you want. That's up to you. But I like mine facing in. That way if it accidentally came open, maybe I wouldn't lose anything out of it, hopefully. And I put a good amount of glue on that. And then I just sit it down right at the edge. I try to make it even on top and bottom. That's why I like the art glitter glue. It should cover your mat. It should be just the size of your mat, so you shouldn't have any problem with that. Okay. Alright, so there is your little box down. Close that up. Now you got a piece of vellum in your kit, and it's various vellums. All of them probably aren't the same, but it's just various really pretty vellum. I put a little pocket right here on the front. Let's see if I got a... Sorry about getting my head in the shot. Alright, I put a little pull on this, just so people can tell that it's a little pocket. And my punch doesn't like to punch vellum, so what we're going to do is we're going to put it on top of this paper and punch it that way. And it still doesn't like to punch vellum, but we got it. And then we're going to glue this down right here. Now the art glitter glue always works fine for me, but if you rather do a different type vellum glue, or if you have an adhesive that you'd rather use, then use that. But this always seems to work fine. When it dries clear, you can't really see it. So I'm going to glue that pocket right there. I just glue it right at the end. And then I take my tissue, and first I just press down and use my tissue to soak up any excess glue that might come out. And then I press really hard and just kind of rub it around. See, right now you can see a little bit of that glue, but once that dries, in all my experiences, and I use it on vellum all the time, it dries and you can't see it. So we're going to leave that there, but if you're bothered by that, then you have extra paper that you can run just a little piece around all of this. Cut a little bitty frame and just run a little piece around here and around here to cover that up. You can do that as well. Alright, we are finished with the inside. I'm just going to lay my scissors here to hold that down for a minute. And now all it is a matter of putting this piece on and then doing some embellishing on the front, and this little album will be finished. Now, I just like to hold it up and look and see about how much I want to fold over on the front. So that looks about right to me right there. And then again, I like to kind of make sure that it's straight. So let's see what we can do about that. I'm going to mark my center again. Right. Push it back this way some so my mark won't show maybe. Right there seems to be my center. Right there. So then I'm just going to kind of eyeball this and line it up with it, with that center point. Should go right there. Now I'm going to fold this around. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to put glue back here and I'm going to lay that down. Remember, you do not have to be perfect. Don't try to be. This is a craft. It's meant to be fun. So I'm just kind of eyeballing that, and I'm going to lay it right there. Okay, we're going to pull that around, and I just kind of crease it with my fingers. I don't do any kind of major creasing. As you open and close it, it's going to crease on its own. Now, I had a magnet here just a minute ago. Wonder what happened to it. Yep, stuck to these paper clips, or clips. Alright, I'm going to use this one because it's what I have in front of me. If you have a smaller one, that's fine. It will work. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to put that right there. Pop this one on top of it. And then we're going to fold that over. Now, I'm going to leave room. I'm not going to like collapse it all the way down. I'm going to leave room in case I want to go back and put more little notebooks in here. So I'm just going to pull it over about there. Let's see. That looks about right. Yep, that looks about right to me. Alright, now it is just embellishing, and I've got this sweet little rose that I'm going to put right there. Oops. So I'm going to put my Fabri-Tac on my rose. Put it right there just to make it look like that's what's, you know, that's a little pull or holding that together. And then we have some flowers. Now, my flower actually got a little squished. And this is shipping from them. This was not shipping from us. But all you have to do is just take your fingers, and if you've got time, if you want to do this, you can spritz this with just a little bit of water, and it will, and then form it, and it'll stay just like you formed it. That's how they make them anyway. They wet them and then form them. So I'm just going to do mine with my finger because I don't really have time to wet them and all of that, but if you want to do that, you can. I'm just going to do this and just fluff it up. We get these usually, they're in a box and they're just jam-packed in there, and they're just squished all to pieces. Okay. Then we have some little leaves that we're going to put on here, and I'm just going to put 2 that way, and then there's a little tiny one, little baby leaf. I'm going to kind of put out that way, and it'll show a little bit better. So I'm going to put these leaves down, and I only glue the top part of my leaf. That way, if I want to fold those tips up, I can. Like that. Okay, then we're going to take our flower. And I'm just going to put some Fabri-Tac on the bottom of the flower. And sit that right down in the middle. Just like that. Now you can fluff this up more once it dries. I'm just going to leave mine like that. And then you have just some various little flowers that you can put around it if you want. If you're not much on flowers, you don't have to worry about this part. I just like to tuck them in here and there. There's one. Ooh, I like the orange one on there too. I think I'll use the orange. I think I'll put the orange one right up there at the top. And just kind of tuck it in and hold it for a second. Don't lay them all down flat. And that makes it look a little bit better. Makes it look more 3D. Okay, I have another flower, but I don't think I'm going to put it on here. I think I like that little creation right there. Okay, we're going to have 3 drawings for this class. Each one will get this, a 6x6 paper pad, a long thing of bling, and a double end marker. Melina's not here to draw for me, so I'm going to have to do it myself. Alright, I think I've got, oops, got more than one. Alright, the person is Tabitha Espinoza. Hope I'm saying that right. Tabitha, this is yours. All you need to do is go to the link for the email below and send me your mailing address, and we will get this out to you. And I've had a question. Some people said, well, my kit got to me. How do you not have my mailing address? Those kits were mailed by May, so I don't have your mailing address. So that is why. So you will need to send it to me because these are going to be mailed from my shop. Okay, here's the next one. It is Margie Miller. Margie, congratulations. Send us your mailing address and we will get this out to you. Okay. And then for our third winner, okay, here is the winner, and it is Sue Smits. Sue, you have won this one. All right, guys, thank you so much. That was a little big, but we'll go with it. Then you have just a little swirl. And then you can just put your little swirl down any way that you want to. And sometimes I do put a little bit of extra glue under my swirl because over time this glue doesn't actually hold. I'm not going to put any right now, but I may go back and put some. Alright, so that is your little album. And you've got your, like that. You could use your extra piece of paper to make a tag or something to go in here. Or you can just put your little vellum pack in there, like that, if you want to. A lot of different things that you can do with this. And like I said, you can add more signatures in there. Alright, that is it for this class. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will make lots and lots of these. Like I said, this video, I don't think I'll get it up by 9 o'clock, which is when the class was supposed to start. But it will be up just as soon as I can get it up, and then I will be over there chatting with you guys anyway. And I will make sure that I send all the cut files, the cut diagrams, the measurements, the score lines, everything to Shannon along with the video link, so that you'll have all the information that you need to put this pretty little album together. All right, we will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for taking this class. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions, my email will be below. All you have to do is email me, and I will try to answer all the questions that I can. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.